My name is Dustin Diener, and for my individual project for my Intro to Engineering class at Madison College, I was tasked with designing a bicycle training wheel set that would have suspension stiffness to automatically reduce based on the bicycle's speed. The limitations and constraints are as follows. The device would have to be very compact to work with small frames. The cost would have to be as low as possible for parents to be able to afford purchasing the item. There could be several different types. They can be adjustable enough to fit many different types of bicycles as well. They would have to be kid-friendly and safe. And we would also have to consider downhill directions and how the system would work in those situations. It would also have to be lightweight so children as young as 2 years old can still support themselves and the weight of the bike. We'll need to know how high they would need to lift after the speed is reached, and repair costs would need to be kept minimal in order to keep a repeat customer base. Moving on. Through the brainstorming and of ideas, I came up with 3 different designs. One quickly entitled a pressure pump. It would allow the wheel to rise and fall when needed, only around 2 inches of movement though. There is a cable system that would run up to a handlebar as like a secondary brake lever. The brake bar with the cable would adjust the height of the training wheels at any point, not dependent on speed, and it would require the operator to pull the handle when needed the training wheels to work correctly. And then there's another one with a cable and a gear instead, something that might be a little bit easier for children to use. Instead of pulling a brake bar, they could easily flip a switch. But this one as well would rely on the operator to activate the system. For some of the materials for the wheels, the actual tire portion, I was hoping we could look into some recycled rubber, due to its cheapness and how it is better for the environment than producing new. There's also a type of rubber called EPDM. There's silicone rubber, and then there's synthetic rubber. And all 3 of those are good with all types of temperatures, fluctuations, and extreme weather conditions, which would work great for an item that would be outside. For the actual tire itself, you call it the rim if you would prefer, but we were thinking PVC due to its cheapness, toughness, stiffness, and how lightweight it is. We could also use polythene. It's not as cheap, but it is kind of flexible. And then we could use a high density polythene, which is not as cheap, but is definitely more reliable and more durable. For the support bars and nuts and bolts, aluminum is obviously going to be the lightweight option for bicycles. There's 6061 and 7005. Both are used in production of bicycle frames. And then there's also 7005, which is stronger. 6061 is superior and easy to find, and therefore 6061 is also the cheapest aluminum possible. There's other common alloys, 7075 and 2014. And there are common alloys used in bicycle frames as well. We could always use carbon steel or high tensile steel. They're heavier, but a lot cheaper than the aluminum alloys would be. All 3 designs would have options for different colors to help with multiple sexes of children using and purchasing the device. All designs would have to be adjustable to fit multiple children's bicycles, obviously of all sizes. We would have to be lightweight to keep the weight of the bike at a minimum, so that it's easier for children to learn how to ride with a lighter bike. Going through some of the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of the pump 1 is it's easy to remove, all within 1 or 2 pieces, and it is adjustable pressure exerted on the ground. The disadvantages would be the durability of the pumps and how long they may last, and the durability of the pressure canisters, which would be the 2 vital parts in making sure that the system worked properly. For the design 2, the cable system, it would allow for the use of the training wheels only when the brake pull is engaged. It would use less materials and therefore would be cheaper, and it would be more lightweight than the other designs. Some disadvantages include the downhill directions and how we would work with that. Would it be safe enough to use, since it is dependent on the operator to pull the brake lever in order to get the training wheels to drop to the ground? And when the brakes are applied, will the training wheels lower fast enough in an emergency situation when the children feels that he needs them right away? For Design 3, the gear cable system, pretty much the same as Design 2, but it will allow the pressure to be adjusted. And then the disadvantages are similar to that of Design 2 as well. In addition, it would require a gear to be added to the design, which would up the cost a little bit. As far as construction methods, for the wheels, the plastic part of the wheels, we were thinking injection molding, compression molding, casting, or rational molding. For the rubber tires, it could be spray-on thick coating. And then for the support rods, it could be stamped, welded, or punched, folded, or just cut and bent. Here are a couple quick drawings of the 3 designs. We have the pressurized pump design, the handbrake pull, and then the gear switch knob. And then a few more notes on those 3 designs, as you can see here. Going into the research on the materials of the device, we determined that the aluminum alloy 6061 would probably be the best route to go for the high cost, high maintenance design. For the low cost and low maintenance design, we figured it would be the least expensive to use the carbon high tensile steel due to its inexpensiveness and availability. Top 4 designs came out to be the pressure steel design number 1. As you can see here, we have the pros and cons listed here, similar to that listed before. Some of the features would be the low cost, small packaging, the lightweight, the reliability. Repair cost would be minimal. It would be extremely durable, easy to assemble, independent of the braking system, independent of the operator. It would be fairly consistent and easy to remove as well. Design 2, which we were just deciding between aluminum versus steel, sensors and pumps, and the costs associated with those. And in making my final decision, I constructed a decision matrix, a design decision matrix. As you can see here, I have the 4 designs. And as far as you have cost, complexity, durability, maintenance, and user-friendliness for our deciding factors. As you can see, design number 1 was the winner, and followed by design number 4. So we are down to the steel pressure and the gear switch designs. Even though design 1 is heavier than design 2, it still has a cheaper material cost and is much more reliable than the other 3 designs. The last 2 designs require the operator to do something in order for the training wheels to activate or lower. If children are just learning, they will not be able to do multiple things at one time and therefore may not be able to activate the training wheels when necessary. The first 2 designs do not rely on the operator to work properly. This makes the 2 designs more reliable. And larger packaging is a downside to shipping and packaging cost. However, having a better reliable design outweighs the additional costs of shipping, packaging, and so forth. So for the low cost, low risk design, a majority of the materials used are metal, lowering the cost of the materials. Using mostly harder alloy metals will add to strength and durability to the overall design. Less cost to invest in replacement parts or dealing with warranty coverages if most of the parts in the design are durable enough to withstand use. Maintenance is kept to a minimum due to the heavier materials as well. Design is user-friendly and functional even without the user. Durability can increase if the metal is coated or plated with rust-resistant material. The design is fairly simplistic, but it is also very heavy. The carbon high tensile steel, good, strong, and long lasting. And then the 12-inch wheels is what we decided for size. Would be made with the recycled plastic, painted red, blue, white, green, or pink. And the sensors from the manufacturer Garmin are black in color. The pressure hydraulic console is 6 to 15 inches long, depending on the size of the bicycle we would be designing for. And as you can see here, I have a basic design drawing of what the wheels would look like and how thick and the dimensions of those. And then we have a bracket and sensor pressure pump, which real basic design here with the sensor that we just talked about, the Garmin sensor that we can purchase online. It attaches to the bicycle wheel between the spokes, and at 4 miles per hour or less, the wheels would be lowered to the ground. Moving on to the high cost and high risk design. The design is similar to that of the low cost, low risk. The differences include the type of material used, additional user-friendly control options, and the cost of the final product has increased. Instead of using cheaper metal or steel for the bracket or support bars, we would be using aluminum to keep the overall additional weight added to the final project to a minimum. The downside of this is the increase in total production cost. The aluminum will not be as strong as the steel option. This will mean that there will have to be replacement parts offered. Customers who have issues with their purchased product, and this adds an additional cost as well. Keeping the sensor and pressure value from the first design, we would want to use a lighter weight option, lighter for fiberglass and lightweight plastic for the valve. This design also comes with an additional activation feature. Will allow the consumer to lower the wheels when they feel they need it, not only when the speed is low enough or below 4 miles per hour. A list of all the materials for the low cost, low risk, and high cost, high risk prototypes are listed here, along with their prices. As you can see, the low cost, low risk design would come to a total of $85.31 before production, and the high cost, high risk design would total out to be $164.43 plus tax before initial costs of manufacturing. Here are some of the producers. I was able to find some of the parts required to make this design. As you can see here, we have the walled hardware for training wheels. We also have the walled universal training wheel itself. We have carbon steel flat stock that would be used for the frame. And we have the auto pneumatic 5706 air regulator, which is brass. We also have the 3-volt mini pump that would be required to fill and allow release of the air within the pressure pump to raise and lower the wheels. And we finally have the canister itself, which is just a round air cylinder, 1 1/16 6-inch stroke. So that would be a fairly small piece, and we should be able to accompany that into the design with no issues. Moving on to the high cost and high risk, the only things that have really changed is going to be the lift support. We are using a more expensive type, as you can see here, totaling about $19 a piece. And using the aluminum, we would have to use a 1-inch by 72-inch aluminum square tube. And then for the wheels, these wheels are a lot more durable, a lot more heavier, and I feel would need little repair if anything were to happen. So those would be the 3 different materials we would use for the high risk, high cost design. After approval, we would follow a chart, a Gantt chart similar to this, starting back in February of 2017. Sorry, my camera's not focusing here. You can see we would be working on the project all the way through until roughly June 4th to June 10th of 2017. And again, that is for the low cost, low risk design. For the high cost, high risk design, you can see here, we would be starting roughly about the same date, and between start and finish with design, testing, and all the good stuff, we would be reaching out till about July. So a little bit of additional time to allow for the testing and durability of the aluminum design, but the additional time would be worth it if we were able to get a design that was more reliable and more durable and lighter weight for the children to use.